Hi, everybody. Welcome to this Embracing Gratitude and Mindfulness taster session. I'm just going to wait for another minute or two to see if anybody else joins, and then we'll get started. So, my name's Claire McRobbie, as you can see my name there. I'm a training specialist for LifeLink, and I work part-time for LifeLink. So hopefully we'll get this taster session started now. So yeah, a little bit about what we're going to be doing today. The session today is called Embracing Gratitude and Mindfulness. I joined LifeLink just over 2 years ago. My background is in teaching. 30 years I've been teaching, since 1994. I was secondary school trained and went on to be a senior leader in an inner city school in Cardiff, where I lived in Wales for 20 years. But I used to work in Clydebank as well as a guidance teacher. So that's my background. I did bring mindfulness and trained in mindfulness to bring it into the schools that I worked in around about 20, maybe 12, 13 years ago. So I trained with mindfulness in schools to teach to the kids in the school, in the primary, and to staff in schools. And then I left teaching and decided to set up on my own as a freelance trainer, teaching mindfulness and wellbeing. And I went back to university at a very grand age, and I did a part-time master's in psychology and mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, and really enjoyed that. And over the last 10 years, I've been teaching mindfulness and wellbeing courses, and with various mental health charities when I worked in Wales. And then I moved back to Scotland in 2021 to be closer to family. And I joined LifeLink. And I work mostly in the division where we are in schools teaching a lot of young people and staff mental health and wellbeing. But I also do a little bit in the adult session. So thanks very much for joining me today. And just move on to the next slide. So what are the aims of this session today? So I want to explore exactly what mindfulness is, because mindfulness is a buzzword that everybody has heard of, but do they really understand the actual meaning of it? And that's what I want to explore today. So I'm going to really look at that. We're going to learn how gratitude and mindfulness can impact positively on our well-being, both at work and in our personal lives. We're going to look and explore the evidence-based research on gratitude and mindfulness. And we're going to, most importantly, experience some gratitude and mindfulness practices. So I hope you can join me for the full hour and take the time out of your busy lives to really learn and experience some mindfulness and gratitude practices. Okay, so first of all, I want to start with the case about why should we embrace gratitude and mindfulness in the workplace? What's happening in the workplace that really needs these practices? So let's look a little bit at the next 4 slides are going to be about the statistics around why we should embrace gratitude and mindfulness. So health and safety executive stats showed that 875,000 people in workplace settings suffered from stress, anxiety, or depression caused by their job. And fairly recent statistics, 22-23, these conditions were responsible for a loss of 17.1 million working days. So all the statistics I'm giving you, you'll see the reference on each slide if you want to look at that up. If you want to look that up. Okay, so mindfulness at work. Research carried out by Nottingham University in 2024 explored the negative impact of the digital workplace, which were identified as stress, overload, anxiety, fear of missing out, and addiction. And the results of this research showed that employees who practice mindfulness were less exposed to the adverse impacts of the digital workplace. So just equipping you with some of the most recent research. According to 2022 McKinsey insights, and McKinsey is a global institute which studies global economic trends and was founded in about 1990. So they kind of examine trends in management. And they found that across the globe, 4 out of 5 HR leaders say that employee well-being and mental health have become a top priority in organisations because of the increased level in stress, anxiety, depression, and burnout, which is causing absenteeism, low engagement, and decline in productivity. And a study by Stanford University School of Medicine found that mindfulness reduces stress-related symptoms by 30%. And I also just want to point out that, in March 2022, not 1922, March 2022, the National Institute for Care and Excellence in the UK recommended mindfulness for workplace well-being. So evidence demonstrates its effectiveness in managing well-being. So to meet the criteria for the NICE in the UK, you really have to have absolutely, the best research, random control trials done. So mindfulness has met all those different criteria and is now recommended for workplace well-being. Okay. So a recent burnout report by Mental Health UK charity found that 1 in 5 people needed to take time off work due to stress in the past year. A third of all working adults say they don't feel comfortable letting their line managers know they felt stressed at work. A half of all workers said their employers didn't have a plan to spot signs of chronic stress or prevent burnout. So these are really quite high levels of statistics showing that 50% of workers didn't really think that their employers were able to plan or didn't have a plan to spot signs of chronic stress, and that a third of working adults don't feel comfortable letting their managers know they're feeling stressed. So these are issues that we really want to address and to help businesses to address and to sort of scale them up to be able to have the skills that will equip them with being able to deal with this huge increase in stress and anxiety. So burnout, I want to talk a little bit about. I suffered from burnout way back as a stressed out teacher in a secondary school. As I mentioned, in Cardiff, I worked for many years, and I was a senior leader. I was in charge of well-being across the whole school. I had lots of other responsibilities for running about 3 departments, the Welsh Baccalaureate, PASE, school, council, lots and lots and lots. I won't go into it, but I burned out. And what is burnout? I would really not recommend it. I was off work for 3 months with it, and I'd never been off work before. So it's a form of exhaustion, of feeling constantly overwhelmed. And it happens when we experience too much emotional, physical, and mental fatigue for too long. So burnout can be work-related, or it can be a kind of combination of work and other stresses that are going on in one's life. So, for me, I had my grown-up teenagers at the time. So lots of home life issues that you're trying to keep on top of, as well as a very, very stressful school. The school I worked in Cardiff had 66 languages spoken in it. There were children from all over the world, and most ethnically diverse school in the whole of Cardiff. So it was an absolute pleasure to teach there, and I learned so much, but very highly stressful in a school of about 1,200 pupils. So burnout is something that, when I was experiencing it, I was in denial. I wanted to get better. And that's when I started learning mindfulness. And through that, mindfulness saved my life. It really did. So I want to talk a little bit more about this. What is mindfulness? So as I said, when I was really ill and off and my body was just exhausted, I could hardly walk. I couldn't even look at a computer screen, very worrying. And there wasn't really a lot doctors could do. They just said rest, and thank goodness I rested. But I started meditating and I started really accepting, okay, this is how I am. And it's kind of want to talk a little bit about this chap here, Jon Kabat-Zinn. And so what is mindfulness? So mindfulness has been around for thousands of years. It's kind of based on ancient Buddhist philosophy. But Jon Kabat-Zinn secularized it and westernized it, if you like. And he developed what is called the mindfulness-based stress reduction course. And he started developing it in the 1970s, and he worked as a doctor of biology in the Massachusetts Institute. And he was very interested in Zen Buddhism and Hatha Yoga. And so he started working with patients who had long-term chronic pain, and he started to teach them basic ways to meditate and to do gentle stretching. And from that, it grew into an 8-week mindfulness course that's been randomly, it's been tested with random control trials to prove how well it works to reduce stress and anxiety. So he says that mindfulness means the awareness that arises from paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. And I really love that little definition because it succinctly sums up exactly what mindfulness is. We pay attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally. So we're going to do a practice in a minute, because when we practice it, we can really understand what that means. So I want to bring alongside that gratitude, because we're looking at gratitude and mindfulness. So gratitude is the act of recognizing and acknowledging the good things that happen, resulting in a state of appreciation. So it's about being thankful and taking time and pausing for the things that we might take for granted, the simple things in life, like the first cup of tea in the morning, the smile on a loved one's face, a beautiful flower in your garden or in the park. So we're really just practicing and taking time to really embrace that feeling of gratitude in a mindful way. So I want to come back to kind of differentiate between two modes of being, and psychologists call this the busy doing mode and the sensing mode. And it's not that one's better than the other, but you'll recognize this busy doing mode because it's what we're like in our work, probably on a regular basis. Constantly checking emails, distracted by texts, have team chats, team meetings, phone calls, writing reports. We're constantly doing. And there's nothing wrong with this, but it can cause a lot of stress when we're on the go all the time. So I want to ask you, do you ever do something, but you're thinking of something else? And do you ever find yourself thinking about the past or worrying about the future? So psychologist studies suggest that our minds wander 47% of the time, and that amount of time is not spent on, we're mostly, our minds are wandering to perhaps things that are not so pleasant, or perhaps it's in planning mode or worrying or going over things that didn't go so well. It's not really all the lovely things and the pleasant things. So how mindful then are you at work on a scale of 1 to 10? So just noticing, how mindful are you in all the tasks that you do? So that's a busy doing mode. But when we're in sensing mode, that's a more mindful mode. That's a present moment being mode. So when we're in sensing mode, we can just train our brain and our body to switch into what we call the parasympathetic nervous system, and that's the one that's the rest and digest. So the sympathetic nervous system is a busy doing, fight, flight, the one we've talked about. And when we practice mindfulness, we stop, we breathe, and we feel the sensation of the body. And we just take time out of a busy life to do that. And we switch then into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the one that's so nice and helps us to feel calm. And it's the rest and digest kind of nice feeling. So it's not, as I said, that one's better than the other. We can't be in sensing mode all day long, but it's nice to be able to learn, how can I move into that sensing mode to stop that fight or flight and that kind of stressful feeling. So we're going to do a short practice. And I hope you can join me for this. So we're going to do a short body and breath gratitude practice. And just before we start it, what I'd like to do is maybe to invite you to take a position that feels comfortable for you. So if you're at work and you're doing this, you might just want to be like me, sitting on a chair with both feet on the floor so that they're not, legs are not crossed. So you've got that kind of stability in the body, where you've got your shoulders relaxed and a nice straight back. You might want to close your eyes, or you might want to keep your eyes open. That's absolutely fine. Some people might like to keep their eyes open, and I will just say, well, just maybe lower your gaze so that you're not distracted by things going on around you. And that might be quite difficult if you're in an office, or if you're, you might have headphones on while you're listening to this. So it's fine to keep the eyes open. So when we do this practice, if this is the first time you've ever done it, you will notice that your mind wanders, and that's perfectly normal. So if anyone ever says to you, when you meditate, it's clearing the mind, that is not correct. When we meditate, we will notice, when we practice mindfulness, that the mind will wander and thoughts will come in. So we just notice that when we're focusing on the body or the breath to anchor us in the present moment and the mind wanders, we notice where the mind is gone. It's part of the practice. We're wakening up to the habits of the mind. So we notice where the mind has gone to, and then we bring it back to the body. We bring it back to the breath. So I always say that because I think people think, oh, I'm doing it wrong. My mind's wandered. I can't meditate. And we want to say from the very start, that is not the case. The mind wanders. We notice where it's wandered to, and we bring it back 100 times it wanders. Okay, let's get started. This 3-minute body and breath gratitude practice. And I'm going to ring a wee chime, only to punctuate the beginning and the end of the practice. That's all. Okay, and I've got it, it's a little chime so you can see it. Okay, so just inviting you to bring the focus of attention into the body and just notice, how's the body feeling right now in this present moment? So just sitting with your feet on the floor, your body in the chair, your shoulders nice and relaxed, and just noticing, what's the weather pattern like for you in the body right now in this present moment? Just inviting you to bring the focus of attention right down into the feet, and perhaps just explore the sensations in the feet. And let's do this with a little bit of gratitude. The feet work so hard for us every day. We don't tend to give much thought and much care and much gratitude to the feet. So in your practice just now, just noticing any sensations in the toes, the soles of the feet, the little arch, the heel, the top of the foot, maybe little pulses, little tingling. Just bringing some gratitude into the practice, that these feet work so well, carry us through our journey in life. So a little bit of gratitude for the feet. And on the next out breath, as we let go of the feet, just bringing that torch of attention, that torchlight of attention, right up through the lower legs, right up through the upper legs, and just focusing on the legs and bringing a little bit of gratitude to these legs. And just noticing any sensations in the legs. Even if there's a wee bit of discomfort or pain, we're allowing things to be exactly as they are, not trying to change anything. And as we let go of the legs, just coming to feeling the body sitting in the chair, that solid base of the body sitting on the chair. And moving up now to feel the shoulders. Any sensations in the shoulders can be quite an area that we may hold stress and tension if we're working on computers all day. We can just maybe feel, the shoulders are a little bit tense. So just inviting you to relax those shoulders, noticing any sensations, allowing things to be as they are, and bringing a little bit of gratitude again to this part of the body, the neck, the shoulders. You may even want to move your head slightly. You may want to roll the shoulders. Just doing whatever feels right for you. Just bringing awareness to this part of the body with kindness, with curiosity and gratitude. And as I say, even if there's pain or discomfort, just noticing. Even if there's pain or discomfort, being with things exactly as they are. You may have noticed your mind wandered. Just noticing where the mind is gone. That's perfectly normal. 100 times the mind wanders, 100 times we bring it back. So as we let go of the body, we're just going to finish off this short practice by coming to the breath and just following the breath. Noticing the cool air through the nostrils on the in-breath and the warm air on the exhalation. So let's just take 3 mindful breaths together and bring this practice to a close. Breathing in and breathing out. So just expanding your awareness of this whole body, sitting here breathing, and just bringing in some gratitude and kindness to taking time out of your busy life just to be in sensing mode, on paying attention on purpose in the present moment and non-judgmentally. Okay, so bringing that practice to a close, maybe just having a minute or two to reflect. What did you notice in that practice? And while you're doing that, I want to show you a very short video clip about a little bit more reinforcement in our learning of what is mindfulness.
Despite what you may have heard, meditation does not involve joining a group, paying any fees, wearing any special outfits, sitting in a funny position, or believing in anything in particular. It is simple, secular, scientifically validated exercise for your brain. You don't have to do it yet, but just so you know, here are the 3 steps. 1, sit with your back straight and your eyes closed. 2, notice the feeling of your breath coming in and going out. Pick a spot where it's most prominent. Usually that's your nose or your chest or your belly, and just focus your full attention on the feeling of your breath coming in and going out. Now, as soon as you try to do this, your mind's going to go nuts. You're going to start thinking about, what am I going to have for lunch? Why did I say that dumb thing to my boss? Your brain's going to go nuts, and that's fine. The whole game is to notice when you've gotten lost and to start over, and then to start over again and again and again. Every time you do that, it's like a bicep curl for your brain, and it shows up on the brain scan. Scientists have found this in the lab. It's also, by the way, a radical act. You're breaking a lifetime's habit of walking around in a fog of projection and rumination, and you're actually focusing on what's happening right now. Meditation is unlike anything you do in the rest of your life. Failure is actually success. As I said, the whole game is just trying, failing, starting again, failing, starting again. Here's my advice. You should be meditating every day, 5 to 10 minutes a day. That's it. This doesn't require some giant investment. I don't care how busy you are. You have 5 to 10 minutes to give this a shot. I guarantee you it will make a big difference.
Okay, so nice short little video clip. And you don't have to sit with legs crossed. I mean, you can sit any way you want, and you don't have to close your eyes. You can keep your eyes open. So certainly, it's important to know these things. Some people like to sit in a chair. They might want to lie down doing a practice. That's fine as well. But I think the main point is that repetitive nature. And when you said you fail, it's like many people think, oh, I can't do this meditation. I feel fidgety. And so we have to keep repeating it because we're training our minds. And this is where I want to lead on to now about neuroplasticity. So in order to change a habit, we have to practice it. And how we use our minds can change the structure and functioning of our brains. So scientists used to think the brains were set by the time you were, I don't know, 20, something like that. So it was old science. Now we understand that the brains change all the time and they grow, and they can see different parts of the brain lighting up when we use them in different ways. And this is with, modern technology, MRI scans. And so there's lots of studies. I mean, I could give you a whole hour on all the studies that are done through it this way, but I just want to mention here that mindfulness, it does take training, and the practice has to be a regular practice. And they found that people who did mindfulness training for a period of about 2 weeks and up to 8 weeks, they found that there were changes observable in the front part of the brain called the prefrontal cortex, which is like the chief executive of the brain, right? And it's really important for learning, for concentration, for paying attention, and for regulating our emotions. And they found that there were changes in that part of the brain, a sort of cortical grey thickening, which improved all those levels of focus, attention, and emotional regulation. And this is really, really important for being able to, instead of reacting impulsively to our emotions, learning how to pause and almost like come back to a balanced place before we respond skillfully. This is really important for young children, and it's what I love about my job working with young people in schools, because it helps them to focus and to concentrate better and to regulate their emotions. So I just wanted to mention that. And the science of gratitude. So studies show that the brain produces dopamine and serotonin in response to expressing being grateful. These are two crucial neurotransmitters responsible for emotions as they enhance mood. So when we practice mindfulness and gratitude together, we're getting a double whammy. Yeah, so not only are we enhancing our focus and concentration and regulating our emotions, but we're also growing those hormones that make us feel happier. And that's what this is about, pathways to happiness. They enhance our mood. So by consciously practicing gratitude and mindfulness every day, we can strengthen these neural pathways in our brain to create a more grateful and positive nature within ourselves. And it's something that I would vouch for personally, because I was really, really ill. And over the last, since that was about 13 years ago, but I've been practicing this every day, and it really has helped me to become a very much healthier version of myself in many ways. So I've got a holistic toolkit of what I eat and the exercise I do and the thoughts that I have, and practicing gratitude every day and being kind to myself. So it's really, really a kind of a whole way of being. Gratitude helps reduce stress. Research studies show that feeling thankful can improve sleep, mood, and boost our immunity. It can decrease depression, anxiety, chronic pain, and reduce the risk of health challenges. Researchers in gratitude and appreciation found that participants who felt grateful showed a marked reduction in the level of cortisol, the stress hormone, and they had better cardiac functioning and were more resilient to stress. Significant studies over the years have established the fact that by practicing gratitude, we can handle stress better. So gratitude at work. Google, well known for its implementation of mindfulness right across the whole company. And they called Project Aristotle, when they were doing the research, found that psychological safety was of high importance to a team working successfully. When employees practice gratitude at work, research shows this leads to less exhaustion, higher job satisfaction, and fewer absences. So, giving and receiving recognition builds stronger teams and increases connectedness that is important for team success. Now, in my own experience, I've done a lot of work with staff in schools before I joined Lifelink. I worked a lot down south in Wales. I had lots of contracts working with staff in schools through unions and local education authorities to teach mindfulness courses. And the feedback I got from staff in schools was absolutely phenomenal. Really, really positive about how it had helped to change their lives and how they felt, much more able to deal with the stress of teaching, which is a very, I think it's about the second or third highest ranking stressful job next to paramedics, the research out there. So, it really, really, I can only emphasize how important this is as a life skill. Can tell how passionate I am about it. So a study, a convergence of mood study done by in 2005 showed that a leader's mood was passed on to those who reported to them, as well as affecting the overall group tone. Now, I'm sure you know that because I'm sure I've worked a lot in my life. I'm fairly old. I've done a lot of work in a lot of schools. And when you've got a leader that nobody likes or that hasn't got good social skills, that isn't really got a positive ethos about them and cultivating that in their staff, everybody feels that ripple effect. When you've got a leader that strives to build positivity, they're the best schools. They're the schools at the highest ranking, they do the best, and the same in companies. Because people love that. They want leaders who are able to be positive, build positive environments. That ripples out to all the staff, and that improves company well-being and productivity. So companies that I've researched, and you can look at the Mindfulness Initiative for this, that have embraced mindfulness and gratitude are Google, General Mills, Aetna, Apple, Yahoo, Deutsche Bank in the UK, HSBC, Tata Steel and Port Talbot, Wales, Surrey and Sussex Police, NHS, prisons, and many schools across the UK. And I know schools are not, and NHS and prisons are public service, but I think it's important to know that public and private embrace mindfulness. Okay, gratitude and mindfulness practice helps improve sleep. So if you cultivate gratitude and mindfulness throughout the day on a daily basis, not lots of time, 3-5 minutes a day, it produces more positive thoughts that can help us to sleep better. And studies carried out at the University of Manchester found that gratitude drives negative thoughts away, especially before bedtime, thus creating room for positive thoughts and reflections for a good night's sleep. So what I do before I go to sleep at night is I just lie in my bed and I go through the day and I think, what am I grateful for today? What 3 or 5 things can I highlight that I'm really grateful for and I can savor? Yeah. And if you ever waking up in the middle of the night and you can't sleep, then do that little body and breath practice that I've done for before, and just do it with gratitude. Yeah. So that's a really good way to help us to get to sleep, because I know that when I was stressed out in my working life, I woke up a lot in the middle of the night, ruminating on kids that I had to deal with at school and all that sort of thing. And when I started practicing mindfulness, it was much easier. My sleep improved, and lots of people who I've taught over the years have said, wow, my sleep has really improved by practicing mindfulness and gratitude. Gratitude letters, a survey conducted on individuals seeking mental health support, revealed that participants of the group who wrote letters of gratitude besides their regular counselling sessions felt better and recovered sooner. In the other group in the study were asked to journal their negative experiences instead of writing gratitude letters, and they reported feelings of anxiety and depression. So journaling gratitude, writing down what we're grateful for, writing letters, practicing, all helps to make us feel better. So I'm going to stop now. I'm going to do a 5-finger gratitude practice. This is a really short practice, and I hope you can join me. So let's just stop and move into sensing mode. I'm just going to ring my chime again. So just sitting with your feet on the floor, your body sitting on the chair, your shoulders relaxed, and your hands resting on your lap, inviting you to bring the focus of attention into the body. And just taking a couple of mindful breaths. I'd like to invite you now to bring the first finger of practice, gratitude practice, and invite you to bring to mind somebody that you really love, you really care for in this life, and that you feel really grateful towards. And that could be anybody, it might even be somebody that's passed over, or it could even be an animal or a pet. So just bringing to mind that person or that animal or that pet. And as you bring that into your mind's eye, just savouring all the things they've done for you that makes you feel so grateful for them being in your life or having been in your life, all the things they did for you that made you feel and makes you feel so grateful. Maybe noticing a little smile on your face as you bring that person to mind. Maybe noticing sensations in the body as we bring to mind things we're grateful for. So as we let go of that person and we let that fade into the background, and the second finger of gratitude, bringing to mind a gadget that you're really grateful for in your life. Could be the coffee machine or the car, the bicycle, the washing machine, the kettle, whatever it is, just choosing a gadget and just noticing as you bring it to mind how grateful you are for this gadget and how it makes your life so much better, easier, brings joy into your life. So as we let go of the second finger, now bringing in the third finger of gratitude, and that's inviting you to bring to mind somewhere in nature that you've been that makes you feel so good. So whether that's lying on a sunny beach with a blue sky above you, whether that's walking in a forest with lots of beautiful trees, or a lavender field, whatever it is, just bringing it to mind. Almost as if you're there in this moment, just savouring all the gratitude you feel for the wonder and the awe of nature. I like to close my eyes to do that. Just imagine, beautiful feeling of nature, relaxing my body, making me feel so full of joy. And so as we let go of the third finger of gratitude, bringing to mind the fourth finger of gratitude, which is a hobby or an interest that makes your life so much better. And you're so grateful for having that hobby or interest in your life. And finally, letting go of the fourth finger. And the fifth finger is just bringing to mind anything you want at all that you're grateful for. So just bringing to mind anything at all. Freestyle, you choose. And so now, as we let go of our 5-finger gratitude and mindfulness practice, just letting go of all the things we're grateful for, coming back to the body and just feeling the gratitude for the feet on the floor, the body sitting in the chair, the shoulders nice and relaxed, and the hands resting on the lap. Just bringing this practice to a close. So I just want to say for that last fifth finger of gratitude. I was grateful for my glasses. I don't know where I'd be without my glasses because I can't read without them. So there we go. Okay, so I want to give you a little bit of advice about how often should I practice. So regularly is the key to reaping the benefits. Small and regular is better than longer and frequent practices. So you can take short practices throughout the day, just that 3-minute gratitude practice or that 3-minute body and breath practice. You know, we can do that while we're sitting in the computer. Maybe we just take time out and we just take 3 minutes. Throughout the working day, short practices are better. You know, and if you forget, have a little chime in your phone or stick a little post-it note in your computer to remind you, I'm going to take my 2-minute mindful body and breath practice, or I'm going to take a 2-minute gratitude practice. So small, often, and regular is very much the case. Keep a gratitude journal and take a mindful minute. So these are really important ways of bringing mindfulness and gratitude into our daily life. And I want to do this mindful minute with you. And I like the wee image there that you've got of the person whose mind is full with random thoughts all the time when they're out walking in a park or something, and the other person who's practicing mindfulness. And okay, their mind isn't completely clear because you'll always have thoughts coming and going, but as best you can, you're practicing, just this moment, look at that lovely tree, or just this moment, appreciating the coolness of the air against your face, even a bit of sunshine if you're lucky in Scotland. So let's take a 1-minute practice. I'm going to take 1 minute. I'm going to put my timer on for 1 minute. And this is a really powerful way of taking a short 1-minute breathing space. All I want you to do is just stop for 1 minute. We're just going to focus on the breath. You can count the breaths if you like. I do that with the kids in school. Get them to count how many breaths they take in a minute. Or you can just breathe and follow the breath for 1 minute, starting now. Taking a mindful minute, following the breath, breathing in and breathing out, counting the breaths, or just following the breath. Okay, so that's 1 minute. So just taking that time, and a very well-known mindfulness teacher who teaches in a lot of workplace settings all over the world said that when he got feedback from leaders and companies, they said that was the best practice that they could possibly do, because they could always find a minute just to, before they started their working day or opened their computer, they could take 1 minute just to stop and take 10 breaths in a minute, 12 breaths in a minute, something like that, and just to breathe. And you don't have to, nobody needs to know you're doing it. You could be standing doing it. You could be sitting doing it. Just don't even need to close your eyes, just taking a mindful minute, following the breath, feeling the rise and fall of the belly, breathing in and out, or following the breath in the nostrils, that cool air breathing in, that warm air breathing out. Sometimes I've got a wee mantra that'll go, breathing in, I enjoy breathing in, I enjoy breathing out. And that's bringing gratitude to your mindful minute. So 3 practices you've got. Put your mobile phone in quarantine. The average person checks their mobile phone once every 4 minutes. Set some healthy boundaries. Put it on airplane mode at lunch so that you can practice mindful eating. Very good for your digestion. Here's how we can practice gratitude and mindfulness in our daily life. When you wash your hands, do it mindfully and with gratitude. These hands that work so hard for us, a little bit of 20 seconds practice. When you brush your teeth, grateful for your teeth. Do it mindfully. Notice when the mind wanders into planning, what am I doing today? Bring it back to just feeling the sensation of the tooth, with the brush and the tooth and the taste of the mintiness. Yeah. When you shower, you often find that you're in the future thinking about what am I going to do today? Bring your mind back into the present moment and just be grateful for this beautiful shower in your body and that feeling of the lather and the soap and being grateful for being alive. I send smiles to all my cells and I go, thank you, my beautiful body and all my beautiful cells for giving me all this lovely energy to be able to enjoy my life. So something like that, really simple. Go for a mindful walk. Practice being grateful for the sun in your face, well, if you get any in Scotland, or the coolness of the air on your skin, or the flowers and the trees that you can see on your walk. These are all little wins that don't take a lot of time. So practice short, mindful gratitude pauses throughout the day, your first cup of tea mindfully, a short break like I've mentioned. And I just want to finish off by saying there are times when perhaps it's not appropriate and you feel you're going through a very difficult or traumatic time, and you have to recognize that it's time for you to take care of yourself, and it's okay not to be okay. So although we're really noticing and suggesting and recommending gratitude and kindness in our daily lives to produce happiness and to sustain a more joyful feeling, it's okay not to be okay. And sometimes we just can't be grateful, and that's okay when we've gone through maybe a bereavement or really traumatic times. And sometimes it's very hard to find even the smallest thing. Yeah. So we can use our mindfulness practice at those times to notice and be mindful of our feelings, whether that's sadness, anger, frustration, or disappointment. And we can bring an attitude of acceptance about how things are in this present moment. And we can be kind to ourselves and we can be compassionate to ourselves. And that's a really good mindfulness practice. Yeah. And it's also important to know I need help. And I'm going to ask for help from my employer or my family or a trusted person or a GP. Yeah. Or, whoever it is, we're going to reach out. It might be a private provider, but we really know I need to get help. So that's really important. And that's being kind to yourself. Yeah. And be grateful that you recognize this and go, no, I'm going to be kind to myself. Many times I've had to do this and have this soothing inner voice going, hey, this is hard, but you're going to be okay. So turning on that nice, calming, soothing voice to your inner voice. It's easy to do it for other people, but we sometimes need to recommend to do it to ourselves. Yeah. We put on the oxygen mask first on ourselves in an airplane before others, because if we don't have the energy and looking after ourselves, we can't give to others. So that's really important. And that really brings us to the end of what we've covered today, the meaning of mindfulness and gratitude. We've explored statistics that provide us with the evidence of the increase in stress and anxiety in the workplace, and why mindfulness and gratitude really helps with evidence-based research to improve our well-being, both in our personal lives and in the workplace. We've explored the importance for leaders and managers to practice mindfulness and gratitude and create a positive ethos for the team. And we've showed, hopefully you've learned some nice gratitude and mindfulness practices that you can use in your daily life and will be useful for you and beneficial for you as well. So just to finish off, these are the services that LifeLink Workwell can offer. You can see them there, equality, diversity and inclusion services, neurodiversity services, LGBTQ services and disability awareness sessions, counselling services, both short-term and long-term, specialised therapy, a safe confidential space, wellbeing services, and that's the area that I'm involved in, enhancing your team's growth with your comprehensive suite of wellbeing training sessions. Specialist services, we offer assist training and mental health first aid courses. Neurodiversity services, including awareness, sensations, and workplace needs assessment. We've got our state-of-the-art mental health and wellbeing app that helps to integrate into working life. And we've got training services to develop your team's knowledge around topics such as suicide intervention, crisis support, self-harm, and more. So that brings me to the end of the session, and I've finished a little bit early, so I'm going to be able to check some of, if you've got any questions that you might have typed in, I can look at them at the end. So please feel free, if you've got any questions, to do that. I'm going to leave up the QR code just for a wee minute or two so that you can, if you're able to do so, provide feedback, which would be great, on this session. And of course, if you want any more sessions like this, can certainly offer very much more in-depth sessions around mindfulness and gratitude for your workplace well-being or any of the other services that we offer. So please get in touch. You can see our telephone number there, our email, our website. And I'd just like to thank you so much for joining me today. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'd like to say thanks to Tom, who's our digital manager and has helped me so much to be able to present today. I'm not so great at IT, but you know, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. So really grateful for that. And I'm really grateful for working at LifeLink. I really, really love this organisation. I'm so grateful that I have this wonderful job working with people and doing something that I feel passionate about, really creating a more positive environment for young people, because they're our future, and that's really important. So thanks so much for joining me. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to stay online for a wee bit and see if there are any questions. So I'm going to have a wee look at this and see if there's any questions. So thanks very much, everybody, for joining today. And yeah, I hope you'll join us more often for these sessions, and that you will embrace gratitude and mindfulness as a pathway to everyday joy and happiness in the workplace. Please get in touch with us. We would love to support your organisation.